Hello and welcome to our sixth coffee chat. It's so exciting. I can't believe we're already around to number six, Leah. We're doing it once a month, so I guess it makes sense if you count it on your fingers. But
Yeah, it's fun. I look forward to these times, Amy, and I hope everyone else is enjoying them too. Today, I actually brushed my hair. So I got out of bed, and this is early in my time, so I usually get out of bed and come talk to Amy. And then today I thought, I'm going to be in front of people. Like, I should brush my hair. So I feel like we're
nice.
making steps over 6 months of coffee
Yeah.
chats.
Yeah, I just unzipped my really dirty stained fleece that I wear more often than I really should. So
So we're trying hard for you all.
yeah.
Oh, so Amy, you were just telling me about why we couldn't record this chat later in the week, and I couldn't believe it. Please say it again. I want to hear more about it.
Well, I am going on a trip with my sister-in-law, who is fantastic. She's so great. But we are starting on the Cumbria coast, and we're going to walk up through the Lake District. So it's going to take us 3 days. We've got 2 hostels booked on the way. We're both a little bit nervous about how much walking we're going to be doing, but we're
Mm.
really looking forward to it. And it's the first time I'll have been away without the kids in a really long time. And so
Wow.
I'm kind of sad that my husband can't come, but obviously that's tricky when, who looks after the kids when, if we both were to go. So, we'll just have to, he'll get some time to himself pretty soon, I'm sure. But yeah, this just kind of came up as an opportunity. So off I go.
Wow. What a fun idea, Amy. Will you have a backpack, but not like a backpacking backpack, just like a day pack, or what will you bring?
Well, it's probably I think the rucksack I have it's 44 liters. I'm sure if I was staying over, I think if we were camping, I would need like the proper one that like comes up over your head practically. But this is also bigger than what I would normally carry for just a day trip, especially because we tend to make the kids carry their own backpacks. So it's more than just a day pack, but it's not like the whole shebang because we don't need to carry sleeping bags or tents or cooking equipment or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I have been practicing. I took a couple of books, like my Handbook of Nature Study, and I just loaded a backpack with like all of this stuff. And I've been going for walks, just carrying it around to get into shape.
So, okay. So in your backpack, the giant handbook of nature study made the cut.
Well, this was my training backpack. I didn't want
Okay,
to like
okay.
pack clothes and stuff into my rucksack because I thought, well, I might need those. So I
Yes.
just put together. I just wanted to make a heavy pack so I could practice it
Okay.
with on my back.
I
So
was
when I
like,
get
wow,
around
that's
to the real thing,
dedication.
that is dedication. No, I will not be taking the Handbook of Nature Study with me on the actual
Okay.
trip. I will be replacing that weight with things like food and water and, and handy things like that. So,
Oh, that's so funny. Feeding the body and not the mind, Amy.
exactly, exactly. Well, I don't know how much mental capacity I'll have. It probably depends on whether it's going to be
Yeah.
hot and sunny or not. So.
Yeah. How amazing. It sounds like such an adventure.
It really feels like an adventure. It's not. I mean, I think walking in the Lake District, you don't tend to be all that far from civilization. I mean,
Mm.
we're able to stay in hostels, and the trail the path that we're doing it's not high level, so we're not really going to be like up in the fells very much. So if we did have a problem, we would be accessible by emergency services.
Sure.
So it doesn't
Wow.
feel super risky, but it feels like a good thing to do at this point. So yeah, I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to it. And the forecast has slightly improved, so it might not rain the entire time, which is good.
Mm. Yeah, it might get a little soggy.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see. Just have to go with the flow, I think, if
Yeah.
it comes down to it. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
so exciting.
Do you have any adventures planned, Leah, for the summer with the family or without?
Um, we have one, maybe possibly two. We might go camping with some friends, which would be exciting. We said that we would not camp with kids in diapers,
Yeah.
because it's the whole, like, where do I put diapers so wild animals don't come? Um, so we might go camping because we have all three kids out of diapers now, which is exciting. But we also are definitely going to Branson, Missouri. And
Ooh.
there is a wilderness resort there called Big Cedar, and everything is built around the great outdoors. And it was actually founded by the person who established Bass Pro Shops.
Oh,
So
wow.
a real nature buff. And so there's boating and lake activities and activities for
Oh,
the kids and just a lot of outdoor time that I'm really looking forward to. So that's our big adventure coming up kind of in August. But other than that, we have a at home July, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Not too much to do. Hadley's doing swim team now, and it will be over in July, so that will be nice to not have that daily um, thing to do. So
oh yeah, definitely. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. How great.
yeah. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
excited. It's just right up our alley with the nature focus and um, the Branson trip. So I think that'll be really good to do something that is on our, like, on our priorities, that reflect our priorities right now. So
yeah. I think that's so good. I think it's so good to be able to establish that and build up your family memories and things around being
yeah,
outside and enjoying that together. And yeah.
yeah. And on the way,
Okay.
we'll stop at great grandma's farm. And that's always
Ooh.
really special because my husband grew up on a farm a mile away from his grandparents. But
Oh,
after his dad died, his mom sold the farm. So
okay.
my husband loves going back, just even to his grandparents' place. And we go to all
Oh,
the sites, and his mom still owns a lot of the land. So they go check on all the bin sites and all the areas and barns and neighbors, and the neighbors take us on their tractors, and the kids love it. So it'll
oh,
be really sweet.
that is so great. Oh, I bet you're looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Are the kids excited?
Yes, sentimental. They're very excited. They talk about the farm all the time, and we haven't been there in about 3 years. So it's funny that they still remember. They'll say, well, we picked blackberries and we picked apples, and they had a dog, and they remember so much. So they're really excited. And
Oh,
Abram, of course, was a baby 3 years ago, so he doesn't remember
oh
it.
yeah.
So it'll
No.
be great for him to have that in his memory and
Does
be able
he
to
act like
experience
he
it.
remembers it? Does he act?
Kind of, yeah, yeah, and we'll look at pictures. So, like, the
Yeah.
pictures become his memories.
Yeah. Yeah. My little
So
guy does
it's
that too. It's like, I'm pretty sure you weren't there for
yeah.
that, but it's really sweet that you're acting like you were.
Isn't that funny? I know. And my daughter really has a vivid, vivid memory, and she remembers so much. And so I've had
Oh.
to I stopped saying, like, I'm not sure you remember that, because she very clearly can, like, out remember me on a lot of things.
Oh,
It's
baby.
funny.
Oh,
Oh.
good.
So Amy, you just do so much for Thinking Love, and you are the visionary and the executive who makes it happen. So thank you so much for getting everything for our early years summit put together, and you made a beautiful page, and let's share what we're doing with that.
Yeah, well, I'm just so excited, Leah. I think when it was your idea to do a season on wisdom for the podcast, and I've really enjoyed talking about that and with the guests we've had on, and in the episodes that we've done, just the two of us. I feel like I've really been encouraged to think about that and to start to put some of those principles into practice a little bit more. Just really set our vision on cultivating wisdom and really thinking about what that looks like day to day in our homeschool.
Mm.
But I think one thing we've talked about is that our kids are starting to get older, and I think as we start having things like lessons come up, and juggling multiple children, and kind of as our kids sort of grow up a little bit, I think the our podcast episodes are starting to circle a little bit more around the new places that we're going, right? Going into those formal lessons, and, educating our children and things like narration. And I sort of just had this thought as we were coming towards the end of the season of it'd be really good to kind of have like one kind of like capstone experience discussion where we really dig into these ideas for the early years, because that's really where we both started. When we started our podcast, we were both deep in the throes of the early years, and I thought this is such a good topic, and I think we really could take some time to talk about what wisdom looks like as we are raising our very young children. So that's kind of where the idea sort of came from. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think one of my bugbears is when I see people on social media tell people like, just relax about the early years. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I kind of want to be like, I'm excited. I'm excited about
Mm.
Charlotte Mason. I think that her philosophy is so cool, and I want to apply it, and I want to put it into practice, and I want to do it in a way that isn't about, academic pressure, which is what I think a lot of people are speaking to when they talk about relaxing around this age group. And so I think for the other side of it is just how do we sort of take our excitement and our enthusiasm for Charlotte Mason, for homeschooling, and how do we really funnel that in the wisest way when we have these little kids? So it's kind of the background that went into it. But I'm excited to hear a little bit about what you've been thinking about in the run up to the conference and what you're going to be speaking about, Leah.
Yeah. Well, first off, we have Amber O'Neill Johnston joining us, and I'm super excited about
Yay!
that. I think you and I were both like, I hope she can do it. Well, let's pray she can do it, and then she can do it. So, we're really excited about that. And I think we both thought of her at the same time, Amy, like
Mm-hmm.
separately, because of her position of having a 5-year-old, unless he's had
Mm-hmm.
a birthday recently. I think he's still in the early years. And then 3 older children. So she has been
Mm-hmm.
through the early years, and then still has one that she's doing the early years with. So I feel like that's probably a big perspective change from the
Yeah.
first to the last. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to hear what she'll be talking about, and she'll be doing the bulk of what the early years looks like, what
Mm-hmm.
she does with children in the early years based off of Charlotte Mason's method. So I'm really excited about that. And then as she's in the middle, and I'll be going first, and like you said, kind of the relaxed portion that I get of um, really dismantling the world's view of preschool, and explaining based on recent research, like why that doesn't work and why we don't need to do that or worry about that, or how we can tell our husbands, if my child doesn't know the ABCs at 4, they're going to be okay. Be able to, a lot of it, I think, is calming the fears of other people when we have faith in the philosophy and believe that it's Holy Spirit inspired, and then other people are kind of stuck in the world's view. So being able to explain to people, no, this is why we're doing this. This is why we don't need to focus on ABCs and 1, 2, 3s for 3 years, right? Um, so, so I'm hoping that gives moms and whoever joins us, not limited to moms, the confidence to let those areas go and to help other people let those areas go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
And
going to be so good, Leah.
oh, I hope so, Amy. Thank you. Yeah, it's something I feel passionate about. And just pulling in the research, it always amazes me how what society does for education does not fit with all the research that there
Yeah.
is out there.
Absolutely. Oh, that'll be so great. It'd be good to watch that one as a couple too. If your spouse is maybe just genuinely interested or maybe has some reservations, that'll be a great one to
Mhm.
pull them in on and spend some time listening to that together. Oh, how good, Leah. That'll be so great. Can't wait to hear it.
Thanks, Amy.
Really good.
And so for the
Yeah.
final session, you will be sharing with us.
Yeah. Well, I took a little bit of inspiration from Karen Glass because when we asked her for advice from in our interview with her at the very end of the episode, she told us homeschooling is a marathon. You are not going to make it if you sprint. And
Mm,
I think that that was such good advice. And obviously, she's nearly at the end of her. She's nearly at the end of home educating her children. I think she might actually be finished now, but only within
mm,
the last couple of months. Um, and so, what I want to talk about is how do we set our pace in the early years so that we have the stamina to do the journey over the long haul. So I'll be digging into Charlotte Mason's principles, especially around like masterly and activity, and kind of how we find rest in really busy times. Making sure we're looking for that in the right places. Um, Taking stock over the early years, there were things I figured out in the early years that I didn't need to wait until I had kids in school to realize that for every year from the end of November until the end of December, our schedule is insane. I already knew not to schedule school then
mhm,
by the time we started formal lessons. And so kind of on a day-to-day basis, but also on a yearly basis, how do we kind of look at our time and use it in a way starting now where we are so that we aren't just blazing ahead and stretching ourselves too thin and just making little small changes so that we can keep going. So
mm.
yeah, so I'll be pulling Charlotte Mason into it as much as I can, but I really appreciated that advice from Karen, and I really want to think about that more deeply about how that really begins in the early years. Because when if you go into a hill and you're already exhausted, walking up, running up, cycling up, whatever, if you're already exhausted by the time you start the climb, there's no way you're going to make it to the top.
Mm,
So I think the early years is such a valuable time to start setting those habits in motion, and to be thinking about those things. So, and I think too, the other thing that's really close to my heart is that Charlotte Mason isn't for later. Practicing these things now, putting principles like the discipline of habit or masterly and activity into action now, that is foundational work, and it is relevant to what you're going to be doing in your lessons later on. You're going to be
mhm,
using that experience and that insight when you get into formal lessons. And so it's really about, I guess, being observant and thoughtful about what's going on now, recognizing that you're not just twiddling your thumbs waiting for those formal lessons to start. It all goes
mhm.
into it. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Amy, that's so great and exciting. And I love that you drew inspiration from Karen Glass because she is the epitome of wisdom, I think, in Charlotte Mason circles, at least. So
Yeah.
I think that will be really helpful. Thank you,
Good.
Amy. And I
Yeah.
was just pondering your thoughts on November through December. I'm like, how could I schedule this year to kind of relax a little in that month and give some different rhythms? So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely worth thinking about. But I will add, we're still doing school right now at the end of June. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I know that it's better. I know that we will reap the benefit of it in a few months when we're, all over the place with birthdays and Christmas and special events and things like
Yeah.
that. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, wow. That's so good. Well, June 10th or July 10th. Sorry, I'm in June
Yes,
right now.
July 10th.
Okay.
It actually happened 10 days ago. Nobody knows. No,
Yeah.
it's July 10th, and it starts at, is it 11 I think it's 11 a.m. Eastern. I think
Yes.
I put on the website some time zone that neither of us are in.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
I know,
It's
but yeah,
hard.
you can go there and register, and it is only $10, which is a huge bargain because there's also a digital gift bag. We've got a discount on the habit training workshop if you purchase the summit. We both have freebies that we've thrown in. Yeah, just for some really good resources. Amber's thrown in a discount for her shop, her digital resources. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a really good opportunity, and it's focused, right? I think that was the other thing. I think you can,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be focused on the early years, and so if that's where you are, everything's going to be relevant to that. It's not going to be, how to homeschool high school or how to get your child ready for university. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's way down the road. So I think that's good because we know that when you have a young family, you do kind of need to know what you need to know now.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
You don't have
yeah,
room
same
in
thing
your
with
mind. Yeah. You don't have
yeah,
like the mental capacity to process all the
exactly,
future stuff right now.
exactly. Yeah, that information will
Oh,
still be out there when you need it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
I
it'll
hope it's
probably be more
encouraging for
relevant.
people.
Yeah. Oh, Amy, I keep talking over you. This time delay always gets me. I'm sorry.
That is okay. But yeah, no, register for the conference. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, well, good, Amy. And is there anything else about Thinking Love or that we need to tell people? I don't think we've decided on our next season yet.
No, we haven't decided on our next season yet. We usually we'll start recording that probably at the end of July or early August. So if people do have things that they'd like to hear on the podcast, people they'd like for us to have on, make sure to message us. Use the contact form on our website, or it's amy@thinkinglove.education, or leave a comment below this video. And we would love to hear from you about what you're interested in and how we can, you know, have conversations that help you on your home educating journey. I think that's the thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think last couple seasons we've done like a big idea. We did wisdom, and before that we did like kind of dispelling homeschool myths or
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Mason myths. We don't have to do that. It was just nice to have a guiding focus for our episode
Yeah.
planning. But maybe
Mm-hmm.
if, similar ideas come in, we could find a focus within those
Yeah,
episodes. So yes,
definitely.
hit us up.
Mhm.
Oh,
Good.
so what are you doing until your trip, Amy, the rest of the week?
Well, we still
Or
have
is
school
it
this week.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll be doing school with the boys in the morning, and probably into the afternoon a little bit. And then apart from that, it is mostly trying to pack and get some other things in order. So, Leah, we're both part of a group called I Homeschool Network. And so I have a guest blog due on the 1st of July.
Oh,
So I'll be writing a post. I'm sure it's going to be like a Pulitzer Prize winner, but it's all about how to celebrate Hobbit Day in your homeschool.
oh, fun. That's a
I'm
fun
actually really
idea.
looking forward to writing it. It's not going to be too difficult, but I'm like, oh, I do actually have to do it though by the deadline. So
Oh
yeah,
man, I am out of the range of having to write the posts now, which is good because I've been a member for a while, but I remember when we were in the middle of our renovation and we were living at my mother-in-law's house, I got an email that I missed the post deadline. And okay, missing deadlines is not something that I'm okay with or that I've ever done in my life. Like, if I say I will do it, I will do it. And so I was panicked. It was so upsetting. But because we were moving and, I didn't even know where my planner was probably. I sat on the patio and I wrote the whole thing in a night, like a couple hours, and I got it done and I sent it to her that night. I'm like, okay. And I don't think it was terrible, but it was just funny that, and that was that was that time in life, and that was how it worked out. And I don't think anybody um, was put out by it because I had it right when she mentioned it. I mean, 2 hours later, but it was funny. It
Oh my
was
goodness.
something I hope to never repeat.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with deadlines. I've done a couple
Oh,
of things where I've said, I'm going to get this done by this time, and I will just hit such a wall of I guess writer's block. Not particularly writer's block because I'll have my draft written, but I will not be happy with it. I'll be really
yeah.
unhappy with it. And I'll just, I'll be going into my husband. This is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever
Oh,
written. Like, I can't figure it out. I can't make it better. Like, I don't know what to do. And
yeah.
usually about, 2 hours before bedtime, I'll have like a eureka moment and it'll all kind of like fall into shape. But just like, I wish this was
Isn't
slightly
that
less
funny?
stressful.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say that, Amy. I feel the same way a lot of times. A lot of times I'll write a blog post and then I'll just think like, it's not coming together. And once I felt like that and I pray about it when I feel like stuck in that way. And I was writing about Charlotte Mason's fourth principle and about the tools that we can use. And then it says the tools that we shouldn't use. Um, and all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, my kids are out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the hook for my post. And I felt like it was God placing that on me. And that has become one of my most popular posts. So I think it's really cool
Yeah.
when we like trust the Lord with those writer's block moments. And like you said,
Yeah.
that epiphany of like God putting that idea in our hearts. It's really cool to experience as a writer.
Yeah, it is really cool. You do often sometimes wish it would come slightly before the dead, earlier before
Yeah.
the deadline.
Or like more often. Can I please have more of
Yeah,
these?
that would be good too. But it's just how it goes,
Like,
isn't it? And
yep.
it's just trying to be diligent. But yeah, I feel like I've been getting up every morning trying to get about 900 words of my book drafted. And
Wow.
if anybody's wondering what's happened to my blog this year, that's basically it. Just like
Wow,
by the
Amy.
time I manage to get that out, I've got I barely have anything else left. It just
Yeah.
done.
900 a day is a lot.
I really want to get it drafted. I really want to get to the point where
Yeah.
I can work with something instead of be working from scratch. So yeah.
Sure. Okay, what is it
Mhm.
about?
So this is my mother culture book, except
Okay.
it won't be called that.
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh,
so this is the one where I was looking at Charlotte Mason's principles, but applying them to moms. And
yes. Okay.
so it's still that it is less obvious. I think I'm trying not to start from an assumption that people know who Charlotte Mason is and absolutely love her.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to bring her principles kind of to light in a way that um, is just maybe a bit more subtle than that. I
Hmm.
like the idea that you'd maybe be able to hand it to a friend who's not a homeschooler or
Sure.
someone who's not you know all that keen on Charlotte Mason or things like that, because I think that ultimately learning I think is directly tied to sanctification, and I think that not enough people are thinking about how to become more holy. And so
Mhm.
I'm trying to kind of tie that into it and kind of say we actually have, as Christians, we have a responsibility to be growing in holiness. And in terms of our mind, that involves learning, because learning ultimately affects what we love. And that is what's driving the direction of our lives. So
Wow.
anyway, there's been
That's
a number of
exciting.
places where I felt really over my head. I'm like, there's no way that I am like capable of writing this stuff. But I I think it's really just one of those things where I feel like I've learned so much about this in the last couple of years that I almost have to write this book just to get my thoughts
Hmm.
straight. And so I'm not
Sure.
necessarily an expert. I'm just desperate to kind of work through it in a logical way so I feel like I
Yeah.
have some solidified knowledge, I guess.
Wow,
But
Amy,
yeah,
I
so
can't
that's
wait
what
to
that
see
is.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll be excited to
that's
see it too,
amazing.
because then I'll be done with it.
Yeah. Wow, and I think it's going to be long if it's 900 words a day that you're writing.
Yeah, well, my goal is to have my name fit down the spine, so I need about
Oh,
50 to 60,000 words. So,
yeah.
yeah, hopefully I'll be done
How
drafting
amazing.
it early August, and then I can start thinking about what to do with all of those words. So,
Great, Amy. That's so exciting. Oh,
thank you.
well, it
Yeah,
was so good to talk with you today. And
yeah,
yeah, and I just can't wait to
yeah.
hear about your trip.
I will give everybody an update in the next coffee chat because I will have had time. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have had time. So we will. I will share all the details and what it was like to have
Yes.
3 days in the great outdoors without my children.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting.
Awesome.
Well, thank
All
you,
right. Well, thank
Amy.
you so much, Leah. It's great to chat with you.
Good to talk with you too. Bye.